Ben, General Manager at Zeelo, welcome.
Thank you, Finlay.
I'm going to hand over to you now, and we'll look forward to, I'll see you again after your presentation.
Brilliant. Thanks, Finlay. And thank you to Ability Ways for having me back at ZC34 for another year. Always good to return. So today I'm going to be talking about how Zeelo are providing smart, sustainable commuter services for businesses, schools, colleges and universities who are looking to decarbonise their commute. Next slide, please. For those of you that don't know much about Zeelo, so we differ from your traditional kind of bus or coach operator. We offer a full turnkey solution powered by some great proprietary technology that really focuses on service designing and ongoing optimization of the service. We adapt and learn from changes to rider behavior just to ensure that we're running the most compelling routes. And all of that's backed up by our 24/7 operational management and great technology, such as routing software, rider and driver apps. And importantly, underpinning all of this is our focus to provide sustainable alternatives to current commuting methods. So offering carbon neutral services and introducing electric vehicles where possible. Next slide, please. Just to go through, we've got a really diverse client base, and just to go through some of the challenges that they're facing. Obviously, big focus on sustainability, which is one of the core reasons that we exist. But what we often find is we're going in to solve one of these pain points. We're actually solving many pain points for clients. So having lack of insights into services through kind of poor technology, poor tracking of services, taking over the service management, allowing them to have increased flexibility, etc. Next slide, please. So just to give you some kind of stats that we pulled together from last year to give you an overview of how we're operating. So from rider surveys, 70% of riders we actually surveyed said that they couldn't get to work without a Zeelo service. We saw a 400% increase in EV usage, and we've now conducted thousands of trips using electric vehicles. We took 2.1 million cars off the road, a stat we're incredibly proud of. And we offset over 2,500 tons of emissions, over 3 million miles traveled with 2.2 million number of rides. And number of driver jobs created last year just through Zeelo services, 3,201, and also 26,000 employment opportunities created. Next slide, please. So really just to give an overview of what we're doing with organizations is we're using technology. So there's a design stage of what we're doing, which is using our routing software, which can look at things like postcode data, it can layer census data, and it allows us to see where there are catchments for where we can put on the most compelling routes. And then it will map it against things like drive time, public transport time. So we know that we've got a good propensity to travel before we've even got wheels on the road. We run an asset-light model, so we'll be working with a number of partner operators in terms of providing the services. They go through a stringent vetting and auditing process, but it also means that asset-light model means our clients don't have to work around any fixed infrastructure we've got. We can flex to their needs and ultimately cut down things like dead mileage by placing them with the best operator. And on the launch phase, and whilst we call it launch, it's kind of an ongoing educational piece through our customer success managers and our marketing teams to really drive that modal shift. So getting people out of, for example, single occupancy vehicles, seeing that modal shift onto a mass transportation system, that's really important to make sure that the services are well utilized. And then in terms of operating the service, we have some clever technology in terms of driver apps to really allow us to monitor the operational performance of the services, but also rider apps so people can book their journeys. We can start really seeing that where catchments are. So if people are searching for stops near their postcode, we can see which areas are underserved, and if we can adapt those routes to make sure we're increasing that ridership. Or alternatively, if anything's being underutilized, we can make sure we're reducing that dead mileage, scaling down vehicle sizes, etc. And that's really where the optimized piece comes in at the end, to make sure we've got the most optimal routes running, and using our full technology stack from the routing, from our routing software, the driver app and the rider app. These are all really intuitive, and we're learning from all of them to make sure that we're optimizing routes, not just on day one, on day 60, day 90, and throughout the course of the contract as we're finding rider behaviour changes, etc. Next slide, please. So this very quickly kind of depicts what life is like after Zeelo. So we could be doing things for organisations and schools, universities, such as reducing vehicle size, where we're just not getting the ridership numbers that we're seeing. We wouldn't run, for example, a 70-seater with 20 passengers. We'd very quickly scale that down. We've often taken over previous operations before that are running multi-routes that can actually be merged to reduce emissions and obviously have cost benefit there, and really repurposing that budget to invest in new areas where we can actually help remove people from single occupancy vehicles. Next slide, please. So in terms of our approach to sustainability, we use our in-house routing algorithm, RENA. And like I said, that really allows us to build the most compelling route. So we're cutting down on dead mileage from day one. We're not running services that we know are going to have low ridership, which is really important. So for example, in the last 6 months, we've seen our smart routing occupancy increases, helping people reduce their average CO2 emissions by 17% per journey. We also use smart marketing campaigns to encourage modal shift from single occupancy vehicle, obviously, to multi-occupancy shared transport. We've seen over 1 million car journeys taken off the road in the last 6 months. And we've also launched an EV strategy to move our clients closer to meeting their net zero emission targets. Obviously, we'd love to have all of our vehicles running on all of our services running on electric vehicles at the moment, but there are some kind of infrastructure challenges and vehicle availability challenges as well. But we do have partnerships in place, and we've partnered with Zenobē and some vehicle manufacturers as well to really help kind of design, finance, build, and operate those solutions. We offer regular reporting as well, so data-led services that provide our clients with that transparent ridership and Scope 3 emissions reporting, really important as more people look to report their Scope 3 emissions. And one of the things that's really important for us is, whilst we can't be running all of our services on electric vehicles, was to make sure that we were offsetting all of the tailpipe emissions from all of our services, which we're doing in partnership with Zeelo at the moment. Next slide, please. So typically how this looks for each one of our clients is straight away from day one. Like I mentioned there, we're offsetting all of the carbon, making sure that all of our services are carbon neutral. And like I said before, we're offering frequent reporting, which allows people to kind of see that modal shift and the impact that that's having on their commute emissions. So reporting on things such as average emission saved, CO2 saved per rider, CO2 saved per ride, and each individual rider emission for employees or pupils as well. And then from that, we look to really understand about the route and continuously learn about rider behaviour to remove underused vehicles. We know that just removing 2 vehicles saves 17 tonnes of CO2 a year. So we'd actively look to reduce the number of vehicles whilst making sure we maintain and increase the number of riders using those services. We'd look to reduce car usage as well through the marketing campaigns that I mentioned and the educational pieces around how people can save money, they can reclaim their time on their commute, and that's really important. And then longer term, we're working with a number of clients at the moment for that electric vehicle transition that I mentioned. As they become more readily available in the marketplace, we'll look to transition as many over as possible. And then ultimately as well, just ongoing reduction of dead mileage. And that's not just dead mileage in live services, it's more about how we can interwork services as well. So rather than vehicles going back to the depot, can we go on and do another route? Can we go on and do another school, etc. Next slide, please. There are some challenges within the industry at the moment in trying to get everything onto electric. There are some supply constraints. So time frames for electric vehicles in some cases taking up to 6 to 12 months. Hence the reason we're looking at EV transition with a number of our services. And ultimately, it's still a higher cost point. So additional costs of not only the vehicle, but for a number of our operators, it's actually the infrastructure to have the charging facilities in place as well. So with our partnerships with the likes of Zenobē, we're actually helping operators make that switch, but also giving them the contracts to help fund that as well. And obviously there's anxiety. So we're seeing it decrease, but a number of operators are obviously still worried about battery degradation, around range anxiety. So what we've currently done at the moment is, as part of our partnership, we've got a number of EV trials and EV demonstrators throughout the UK, where we're offering our partner operators and our clients to have use of an electric vehicle, so they can really start understanding how that operates. Next slide, please. Conscious of time, just going to finish off with a very quick client case study. And this was actually a client that introduced Zeelo services to employees for an employee benefit, for work-life balance and satisfaction, and obviously to attract the best talent in. So it's performing very well. We're seeing 350 new unique riders, 130 weekly services, and 10,000 monthly journeys. But the good thing there are the stats that it's produced out the bottom. So just over 33,000 total kilometres covered. We've removed 81,500 car journeys and saved over 2,000 tonnes of CO2 through this contract alone.
Brilliant.
Next slide, please.
Thank you so much, Ben. That's great, and we I think don't go anywhere, because I think you're going to be coming straight back. But that was Ben Bhattal, General Manager UK Business at Zeelo. Do check them out. Great organisation. And Ben's going to be joining us now for our follow-up panel discussion.